Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Pass is intercepted at the goal line. Up for the layup! Oh, blocked by James! Curry, way downtown.
And welcome back to the 2020 podcast, where hindsight is 2020 and the takes are 10 out of 10, where we are 2 days away from our Super Bowl because neither one of us, our teams were in the Super Bowl. So we always look forward to the offseason.
Some of us are closer than others.
Yes, I'm not going to deny that.
Some of us are closer than others.
We look forward to the offseason every single year, and this year is no exception. It's been a blast covering the draft up to this point and a lot of the offseason. And we're going to continue that with today, where we are only 2 days away from the NFL 2026 draft. We are doing a full 2-round mock draft. It is our final mock draft that we are going to be doing. That is a collaborative mock draft with Drew and I deciding on the picks together. And it's going to be with trades. We haven't done with trades yet because of our timing of being able to record. So, yeah, we're going to do with trades. Pretty excited to get this kicked off. Going based on not what we would do, but what we're hearing and how we think this is kind of going to fall. This is full predictive mock draft, not a what we would do. But before we get into any of that, Drew, how you doing?
I'm excellent.
You ready to get it going?
Hey, you know what? All this collaboration, all this back and forth, the disagreements, the agreements, we agree on 8 straight picks and then we throw a landmine into it and start over. All of it comes to an end in 2 days. So I'm excited. I'm excited for another year to start. That way we can see how close we nail this, go and pat ourselves on the back, for other things that we've nailed in the past. We didn't get, I think, as far as we would have liked to get, second or third rounders out this year. But man, it's just when there are not a ton of quarterbacks in a draft, especially at the top, the whole thing's just a crapshoot. Like you're hunting down rumors, you're tracking things down, you're trying to verify. You hear one thing, you're trying to see, is anyone else talking about this? And you just get all this smoke and there's a fire somewhere, just trying to pinpoint it. It's been a lot of fun this year. So I'm excited to get this out there, get this on the record, and then buckle down. I'll be at work for 12 hours on Thursday, right in front of my computer screen. So I'm excited.
All right. So let's go ahead and get it started. And with the first pick, no one has to disagree with this. I don't think there's a single mock draft out there that will disagree with this. And it's so one thing we could say, out of the 64 picks we're going to make, we can at least get one right. That's it. Now the real conversation starts here at 2. Drew and I, we talked very, very, very briefly on the podcast right before actually the podcast. And we thought we had it hashed out, but what's the direction we're leaning on this one? It's Reese or it's Bailey. What's the direction we're leaning here? Because originally we leaned Reese, especially with the top 30 cancellation, but now we're potentially hearing other stuff. Fill me in on that.
I just want to be sure before we go to number 2 here that you've dismissed the notion that this pick is going to the Ravens for Lamar Jackson.
100% dismiss that one. Yep.
Okay. I just want to, I know there's at least one guy out there. I don't know him personally, but I just want to make sure that he knows he's been heard when it comes to this. So
tried, couldn't do it.
You know what, man? Peter Schrager, he got on Get Up this morning and he said it's Bailey at number 2. And I just don't know if I just don't know if I share something, will it overlay yours? Oh, it sure will. Look at that. I'm going Bailey at number 2, and that's Peter Schrager. So I don't know what the reasoning for a smokescreen here would be. This is where I'm confused. Is honestly, everybody knows that Fernando Mendoza has the Raiders playbook, right? There's no reason the Jets could come out and say, "Hey, it's Bailey." No matter what, it's Bailey or it's Reese or whatever, and it doesn't hurt them at all to tip their hat unless you're going to try to convince me that the Jets organization still doesn't know, which it's the Jets, so you can convince me of anything. But
Right.
2 days out, Jacob, they have to know, wouldn't you say?
I think so. I mean, Bailey's the pure edge rusher, and he's probably the closer to the sure bet than what Reese is. I like Reese better as like a prospect, and the future is of what he can be. But a lot of people like Bailey as a pure pass rusher, and exactly what this defense would need for Aaron Glenn. You need to put some pressure on the quarterback because you don't have any interceptions last season. Part of that is putting pressure on the quarterback by itself. It's not just a one man's game for picks. It's that front four as well. So getting a pure pass rusher in David Bailey is probably the way they want to lean. It probably fits them a little bit better. They've probably decided at this point. If it's Bailey, it's Bailey. Now the conversation at 3 is trade talks. When we went with Reese originally, when you and I had the conversation, Bailey fell a little bit, and that's just because I think there's a bigger interest in trading up for a player like Reese and what he can be. Everyone wants the ceiling, right? There's players we care about the floor, obviously, but the ceiling players, that's why you get drafted as high as you do. I mean, we see it with Sonny Styles, a little bit of a more raw prospect, but the ceiling is incredible. And same thing with Reese here. So the trade talks start here.
Yeah, thank God to PFF they put an undo pick button here. Not that we're going to do that here, but I agree with the thing about Bailey is if I don't put him in here at 2, and for those of you guys that have been following along with us, you saw this first debuted on a 2020 podcast, the one I did myself. I took Bailey here. If I don't take Bailey at 2, I don't have him going for another 6 or 7 picks, which seems absolutely wild to think that he could be good enough to go to
7 for me. Yeah.
But then maybe it's not into Washington or the Saints that he goes again. So it's really just an interesting decision. Is there any chance we've been mocking the Cardinals? They suck. We've been mocking for the Cardinals. It seems like we've been taking, whether it's a tackle or a trade out. Is there any way that they just look a gift horse in the mouth? They see Arvell Reese here and they just take him.
They could. I just don't know if it's a priority. They have Josh Sweat, Baron Browning, Zaven Collins, and they just used a 3rd-round pick last year to select some edge rushers. So it feels like it's not like the highest of priority, but if you like the upside of Reese that much, you could definitely go that direction. Their next pick is at 34. So then what you're banking on is to get tackle talent at 34 at that point. So you're hoping that a Blake Miller is still sitting there. You're hoping that, what else would we have? You'd hope that Max is still there, Lomu is still there, and then after that's a little bit of a drop. So you're hoping that one of those guys is still sitting there at 34, which is probably a little bit more of a priority, is that tackle spot. But if you're just so enamored by what Reese can be and what he is right now, because I think that's tape shows a lot of who he is now. He's a top 5 player for me just on tape alone. Then take him. I just think that tackle might be a bigger priority just because they don't have much of anything on the right-hand side. It's a little nerve-wracking there. And plus the left tackle, Paris Johnson Jr. is going to be, I believe, on IR to start this season. So,
So then let's talk about trade ups here. Who's rich enough to get to 3? Because it really feels like out of the teams that I don't know if the Cowboys 12-20 gets them to 3. So
it would have to be a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because that's a 10 spot move up almost. Yeah, 9 spot move up. So
now can the Chiefs get to 3? Are the Chiefs coming up for Arvell Reese? Or are the Chiefs coming up for David Bailey here? If that's the conversation that we're having, like I feel like 3 is just it's a very, very rich jump for a lot of teams when you have a team like the Browns that would be willing to, I think, trade back, and the Chiefs getting to the Browns pick or the Cowboys getting to the Browns pick is a lot less. It's a lot of draft capital to move up to 3. I mean, in
Yep.
honor of this conversation, for those that can see it, I'm wearing a Trey Lance jersey right now. It's a lot of capital to move up to 3 and make a mistake. So
It is. I the question that I would ask you is who feels like they're the closest? Who feels like they can give up the draft capital to go get an impact player that feels like they're the closest to compete for a Super Bowl where they don't need those draft picks in the future? And that conversation would probably start with the Chiefs. They need pieces, but you have 15 on your team. I think you're going to be competing more than some of these other teams in the top 12, 13, 14 that maybe would want to try to jump up that high.
well, and I just think if it like the Chiefs have 2 picks and ultimately we think that they can get where they're sitting now, they can get the best corner in the draft and a starting tackle. They can
Yep.
get the second best wide receiver in the draft and an edge rusher. They can get a lot of help now players that at their picks, why move to 3?
Yep.
I mean, Arvell Reese, trust me, I love the player. David Bailey, I love the player, but they're not taking the Chiefs to the Super Bowl
Right.
any more than 2 first-round picks were. I just don't see the Chiefs as a likely. It doesn't strike me as an Andy Reid move. I could be wrong about that. I don't know the man personally, but the Chiefs just it doesn't seem likely here. It seems too expensive for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are like the kings of, hey, we're going to do something big, and then they never do anything. Now,
Right.
they traded Micah, of course. They traded for Quinnen Williams. I get it. They've moved lately, but let's look at all the big moves they made in free agency this year. I'm going to list them. I'm glad we did that. So now they're just going to trade away 2 first-round picks with a team that's already cap strapped as it is. Like you're paying quarterback a ton of money. You're paying premium positions a ton of money to move up. And you move up to 3 here for Arvell Reese when you can probably just wait and get. I mean, you can move up to 9 and get a shutdown cornerback. You can move up to 6 with the Browns and get Sonny Styles. Like I feel like chances are 3 stays with the Cardinals. I just think it's going to be too expensive. The only other teams that really have the capital to move up are the Dolphins. Why would the Dolphins want to move up? I guess the Browns have the capital obviously to move up, but why would they want to make that move? I just think, unless the Browns decide that Arvell Reese sitting here at number 3, but even if most teams' conventional wisdom is that Arvell Reese goes 2 and David Bailey's on the board here, all of a sudden Reese is available at 3. Teams are scrambling. I don't think it's enough time to get a deal done to move up to 3. And that's why the Cardinals stay here. And I'm guessing they go tackle.
I'm with you. I think it has to be Francis Mauigoa at that point. Like I said, the tackle spot at that point is too important for them. And if you do want an edge rusher a little bit more down the line, I think there's a couple teams are obviously going to be vying for a quarterback there at the top of the second, or trying to trade up into the end of the first to try to go get a quarterback. But at the end of the day, I think the tackle spot's a little bit too important right now for them. So Francis Mauigoa, 3rd to the Arizona Cardinals. And 4 is interesting now because there's the running back, and there's potentially, arguably, the best player still on the board.
Yeah, Tennessee has a new head coach this year. Conventional wisdom would tell you that he's going to want a defensive player here. You have Jeffrey Simmons. You have additions of Jermaine Johnson and John Franklin Myers in the offseason. Slotting in an Arvell Reese here or, a Sonny Styles, that is a huge game changer for the Titans defense. But if the Titans offense doesn't do anything, if Cam Ward isn't going anywhere, if he doesn't have an explosive playmaker, what good is having a shutdown defense if your offense isn't in sync? Your offense sucks, isn't in sync. You can ask the Browns about that. Feels like the Cleveland Browns have had a shutdown defense for a number of years, and they just have not had the offensive tools to get it done. So I've weighed in heavily on the first couple of picks here. I'm probably going to defer this one to you. I think Arvell Reese sitting there makes a ton of sense for them. I think if this switched up a little bit and David Bailey was sitting there, that would give them a ferocious front 4. But it just feels like Jeremiah Love has been mocked to them, all over the place. I think a running back at 4 is too expensive for a running back, but conventional wisdom leads me to believe this might be a good spot for him.
I would agree with you. I just think because it is the popular pick and betting odds are that Jeremiah Love is going to the 4th spot. He is the odds-on favorite right now. I think we go Love at this spot, but I think Reese sitting there makes him think about it a little bit longer. But I do think that Jeremiah Love goes 4th because there are, if you do want pass rushers, if that's what you are looking for, you can get them a little bit later in the draft. You do pick at 35, or if you want to shore up the inside of your line, there's going to be guys there as well. They have draft picks. They can wait. And obviously trading for the guys like you talked about, Jermaine Johnson and whatnot, you are bringing in the my guys, as Salah did. So let's go ahead and draft Love at 4. Can we just make this quick and just go with Reese at 5?
Yeah, I think if Reese is gone for whatever reason, I think Sonny Styles is the pick here.
Yeah.
But the way we've boarded this out, Arvell Reese is still available, so it would be a no-brainer for the Giants.
Yeah, off-ball linebacker, edge rusher, and some people say, oh, well, we have plenty. Kayvon Thibodeau is not going to come back after next year. He's already been on the trading block for like the last year. So bringing in Reese kind of would probably solidify his departure. And then giving running mates to the other edge rushers that are out there as well would free them up significantly. You just traded your interior defensive tackle who collapses the pocket. So getting more guys on the outside edge that can do a little bit more is going to be important. And obviously, best player available. Yeah, I don't think you pass on Reese here at 5. That's crazy. And we're here at 6. Is this where we make the move?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cowboys have to be on the phone here.
Yeah.
My question here, as it sits, are they coming up for Sonny Styles or are they coming up for Bain?
Styles. I messaged you that it seemed like most people are seeing Styles go to the Cowboys and trading up specifically for Styles. If Styles isn't there at 6, I don't think they move. I think they just let the board fall how it falls, and you just let the best player available fall to you. As big of a problem as I've had with the Cowboys drafting a couple guys in the past, they just like to draft football players, and best player available is kind of like on their board is where they like to go. Sometimes they got a guard way higher than other people, so they draft that guard, and that guard turns out to be pretty good. And I'm like, well, there's other guys available, and the guard's just a football player, and that's the Cowboys just like drafting football players. So if they are going to trade up, it has to be a pretty exceptional guy, and Sonny Styles can be that. Now, the question for compensation for you, because this does affect this draft that we're talking about. So obviously we have to include 12 for 6. The question is would the Browns rather have 20, which we see we have 24 after this 6, we would have 12, 24, and 39 in the first 2 rounds. Or would they rather have a first-round pick next year in 2027?
Yeah, I think
it's 2 first-round picks next year in a draft that is supposed to be loaded, in quotations. That's what we say the year before, and every draft it feels like. But you have 2 picks in the first round next year as well. They have a lot of draft capital. Would they rather 2 firsts this year? Now they have 3 in the first round, or push that to next year?
I think it's 12. It's number 92 and a second rounder next year. I think that gets it done.
Okay.
I don't think the Cowboys are moving 2 first-round picks to move up here. I don't think that makes sense for them. This is a team that missed the playoffs last year. They still need talent. And I just think, what happens if you don't click force? Does it tell you if we think it's good?
It just says they're not interested.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll pick Styles here. Yeah, I don't think the Cowboys trade the 20th pick in the draft. I think that if they are going to trade another first rounder, it will be for next year instead. I think if they trade next year's first, though, they're going to ask for a second from Cleveland back. They're going to ask for that pick 39. So it would be, instead of next year's second, it would be next year's first. They get their second round pick this year. And then the Cowboys and Browns can do like a 4th round pick swap or something, or a 5th round pick swap or something dumb like they like to just throw in just for shits and giggles. But for this exercise, we'll stick with what we got. And again, 6, Sonny Styles to the Cowboys. And now we're at 7. Couple options here. I feel like now the draft starts to become a little bit more wide open. Stuff kind of falls into place, but now we're at Washington.
Yeah,
Wide
this is
receiver, safety.
Ruben Bain. Yeah.
I think this is a wide receiver. No second round pick. You got to nail it. Another weapon for Jaden Daniels it might be a priority here.
Well, based off of what you just said, do the Commanders trade this?
Trade
No
back.
second round pick.
Trade back and get a second. Who's jumping up for one of these guys?
Who's jumping up for
Tate?
Who's jumping up for Carnell Tate? I would say that team that's picking at 16.
There's been a lot of whispers of them trying to move up higher from that 16 spot.
Yeah,
we can definitely mock it.
And I think 16 and 44.
16, 44. And they're going to have to give up something next year too, I think. That's a big jump. That's a 9-spot jump. And it's back into the top 10.
What about 140?
Let's do that. Okay. Jets back on the clock, and we're going with Carnell Tate.
We're getting crazy out here. We are getting crazy.
New Orleans on the clock. Do they just want to slot in Bain here? They definitely need the defensive line help. Pass rush help is going to be definitely critical for them.
Yeah, I feel like they can go a lot of places, but with him sitting right there, I feel like it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those weird positions where they don't need they don't need a tackle.
They could go corner too. Traded
I don't really
Marshawn
think
Lattimore mid-2024, lost Alontae Taylor to free agency. They don't really have a lot past that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Ruben Bain makes sense here.
Okay. Bain at 8. And Kansas City. Probably one of the biggest question marks in the draft to me because it feels like they keep everything pretty tight-lipped. Even when they're asked about things and pressers, they're just pretty silent. Oh, how do you feel about this player? Nothing. So
I don't really have I mean, if I was doing this by myself, I would slot in Mansour or I would slot in Jordan Tyson. That's where I would go with this pick here.
can I also offer you to consider Spencer Fennell as well? Injury to Patrick Mahomes, right tackle is looking super scarce right now for them. You know what happens after Patrick Mahomes goes and quarterback sneaks and dislocates his knee? No quarterback sneaks after that. Not a single one. I think Andy Reid likes to play on the air of caution. Fano sitting there. He could potentially play literally all 5 spots. We could go with a weapon, but we also still have pick 29. We can grab weapons there. 40. We still have stuff there as well. Or we could wait for tackle at the end too. Max might be there at the end. Who knows what's going on with Lomu, or we have options. I think tackle is going to be one of these first 2 picks, though.
Let me ask you this.
Mhm.
It's been 10 years since Kansas City's been in the top 10.
Yep.
And they would prefer that it's 10 years before they pick in the top 10 again. So assuming this is their first and last chance for many, many years to make a pick of this quality, who suits the mold? Who is important enough that this is the first time that you're going to draft in the last 10 years? It'll be the first time in the next 5 or 6 years that you get a pick this high. Who is good enough to take at this pick?
Downs.
I think so too.
See, that's why I fuck with you. You always ask those good questions. Yeah, absolutely. It's Downs. I don't, again, arguably the best player in the draft, and you're getting him at 9. He's a safety / linebacker / edge rusher / slot corner / outside corner / whatever you want him to be. The leader of the defense is what he is. So I agree. New York back on the clock. Can I just look at New York's picks? Yep. Arvell Reese at 5. Which is a terrifying thing to think about as a Cowboys fan. It really sucks. But Reese there, I think we can take a consideration for wide receiver here. Mekhi Lemon,
Yeah, I think
Jordan Tyson.
I think it's Jordan Tyson.
Think Tyson.
I think from what I've watched and what I've seen, if the 49ers are picking here. I like Jordan Tyson. We're not big fans of wide receivers that have played at Arizona State anymore, but I'm a big fan of Jordan Tyson. And I know PFF ranked 19th there, I think is a little crazy because he's been all over the top 10 of these draft boards. But if you think it's Mekhi, I'm not against the idea of that either.
My only thing is the smoke screen. Is it a smoke screen that Tyson whispers falling to 20 because of like the 20s, I should say, because of the injury concerns? Is that just a smoke screen just to throw out there being like, yeah, we're concerned about it, but reality is we want to pick him at 10 or 12 or 13? Any of those that I just mentioned that could draft him? Or is it for real?
Well, the Giants made this move. I imagine they made this move with someone in mind. And you don't make this move with someone in mind if you're worried it's a player that's going at 6, 7, 8. Like, they didn't make this move hoping that they were going to get Caleb Downs. I don't think there's too much smoke that he can go top 10 before top 10. I don't think
Sure.
they make this move with linebacker in mind, right? Let's say that they don't get Arvell Reese to fall to them. And, let's say that Sonny Styles doesn't go to them, whatever the case would be. Like, they go to 10, knowing that at 10, the player they want is going to be there.
Okay. Let's slot him in. I'm definitely not against it. I'm against it as a Cowboys fan because I really like Jordan Tyson, but I'm not against it as a draft fan and an NFL fan at all. All right, we're at 11 with Miami. This has been pretty consistently some sort of offensive lineman at this point because they are a little poor at that time. Do they just wait? I mean, they have 3 picks in the top 43, 45. So you could potentially go get guards later on. You can get a tackle later on if you want to. Wait till that 30 spot. Or you can, because I think that their biggest concerns here are going to be, or the biggest team needs outside of the offensive line is wide receiver and corner, not a whole lot to throw to and not a whole lot to protect their boundaries. So I think that's where their 2 main concerns can be. So I think we could be looking at Lemon. I think we could look at Delane. I think we could look at Fano for going offensive line, or even Vega Ioane. We can go that direction as well. But again, there's some guards in the draft later on that I really like, and they can't wait. Pregnon, Chase Bistonius, the guy out of Texas A&M. I like him a lot. He's probably my second favorite guard in this class. So you can wait for him later on. So are we prioritizing offensive line and building the trenches, or are we prioritizing getting a playmaker or a play stopper?
There's going to be a ton of edge available when they pick again. There are going to be tackles available when they pick again. There is going to be a Denzel Boston, KC available when they pick again. What won't be available is Mansour Delane when they pick again. And, just when you're talking about, can I get this player at my next pick? Can I get this player at my next pick? Can I get this player at my next pick? I think cornerback is really the position for them where, I've seen Colton Hood as high as 12. So obviously people out there are super high on him. Avion Terrell's been all over the place. You and me kind of feel the same about Jermod McCoy. He's probably going to go a little higher than we think he is. So maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe the Dolphins are just sitting in the perfect position to take whatever they want because they're going to be able to get the next level of importance player at their next pick. And I think this makes it a super interesting decision here.
I think we can go Delane. I'm definitely okay with that. It's kind of the direction I wanted to lean, but I wasn't sure if you wanted to go with the offensive line. But I'm cool with going Delane if that's where we want to go.
I feel like when we watch this draft back, or when we watch this draft and Spencer Fano goes here, we're like, yeah, no shit. That makes a lot of sense. But
yeah,
at the same time, Mansour Delane is just a hell of a player. And,
I'm with you. Cleveland is up after their trade back with the Cowboys. owning picks 12, 24, and 39 in the draft. Offensive line talent, tackle talent specifically, wide receiver could go here as well. I would like to go Fonau here. That's where I would like to go. Versatile, can play potentially all 5 spots. I think it's what Cleveland needs at this point, especially since you're like kind of filling in with your like Zion Johnson and like you're filling in guys to just potentially play there, but you don't know how good these guys are going to end up at the guard spots. So I think it's a pretty solidified pick.
Zion's gonna be a Dallas Cowboy, bro. I feel like they love Zion. So the Browns have the 6th overall pick in this draft, and they have the ability to make whatever decision they want there, and they decide to move down 6 picks here. Obviously, they had the ability to take the best wide receiver in the class, Carnell Tate. They pass. They have the ability to take Caleb Downs there in this mock. They pass. What is not available there at 6 that is available there at 12 is offensive tackle. Obviously, the Cardinals took a tackle at 3, and they get to move back 6 spots, get the next best tackle in the draft, and add to their draft for more chest. I think it's definitely tackle here, especially if the trade down move happens.
All right. LA at 13. Chalk it up to limit at 13. Is that the direction we're leaning? Feels like that's where everyone's going. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I'm 100% there too. You know, Adams is getting a little bit older. You don't know what's ever happened with Buka, especially with this weird offseason he's having. And after those guys, there's not a whole lot going on. So getting another weapon for Matt Stafford, keep padding up that offense as much as you can. Go for another run at it. That's how they're going to want to approach it for sure.
Yeah, and I think this pick here is just as easy. The extension talks with Lamar Jackson, everything that's going on with him, they have to make sure to protect him as best as possible. And I feel like we've mocked. There has been some Kenyon Sadiq, smoke here, but I think the guard from Penn State, I'll leave it to you to say his name, makes all the sense in the world here.
100%. Yeah, we've done Vega Ioane there before. A lot of people have, and we've gone in other directions to try to change it up a little bit. But yeah, protecting Lamar is going to be priority. And pick 15, Tampa Bay, almost in for the coach at least, they're in win now because he's going to get fired if he doesn't win some games this next year. So he has to produce some sort of results. Could look at edge rusher right here. That's a pretty high priority. A linebacker at this spot. I mean, you could go CJ Allen. It's a little bit rich for me right there at 15. I think you could go a little bit later than that. Defensive tackle, but too early. Corner, but it's not a high priority. I think edge. You could go Kenyon Sadiq here as well, but I think edge is kind of where we want to lean, right?
I think we've talked about Kenyon Sadiq here so much, and it's just not going to be it. I feel like this is prime time Akeem Messidor. Yep. This is prime time Keldrick Falk, or this is prime time Jermod McCoy. Yeah, that's what's happening here. But I think conventional wisdom is Akeem Messidor.
Yep. A little bit more developed than the other guys. Can bring a little bit more in the run game as well. Has a little bit of a higher motor. And he is older, but like I said, coach is in win now mode. They need to produce some results before he gets fired. And Akeem Messidor. Washington finally pick 16. We have 16 and 44. They got a second round pick out of that. And we moved him back. Wide receiver. I mean, we could go Omar Cooper. A weapon for Jaden Daniels would be nice, but some people would say that it's a little rich for Omar. Is that the direction that... I know the Jets loved him, and they were originally picking here at 16. So that was a potential already. Safety is also be honest with you, a consideration as well.
Yeah, I think at this spot, there's 3 things that happen here. If Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson for some reason are here, they're gone. Washington Commanders draft them up. I think Dylan Thieneman is a huge potential here. We've seen him mocked at 12 over and over and over to the Dallas Cowboys. Yep. I also think they're on the phone. A potential move back again. I haven't done enough research on what it would take to, I don't know. The thing about it, if you look at the players on the board right here, I don't think there's really a player that teams are calling about. There hasn't been someone that's fallen.
I think there is.
CJ, who is it? CJ Allen?
No, I think Monroe Freeling is a conversation. And why I think he's a phone call conversation is they're going to want to jump in front of the Lions before he's picked. There's a tackle going there at 17. There's a tackle going at 17. The Lions would love Monroe Freeling to slot in there right there, left tackle, as that's what the Lions need. Someone's going to want to jump in front to grab him.
Is this the Steelers on the phone then?
Steelers could be on the phone. The Eagles could be on the phone. Lane Johnson is getting up there in age, and it's like,
I like the Eagles.
Yeah, and Eagles make moves,
Howie is aggressive. I like the idea of the Eagles.
Yep. But we can make that move.
I actually love that. Let's see. What does that cost? And will the Commanders do it?
Will the Commanders do it? I think Philly would have to almost overpay a little bit. So what would overpaying look like? So 16 and 23, I think you would have to throw in 54. And I think you have to throw in like a next year's second or third. I think you have to overpay a little bit to move up in a divisional rival scenario.
Okay. What does it cost the Steelers?
I think it would cost, wrong person, 21, 53, and maybe that's it. Maybe a late 161, 135, maybe.
I just don't see a team. The reason why I don't like the trades at either place here, I don't see a team wanting to give up back-to-back picks. That's a long time to go without picking.
Yeah.
I mean, can you go 21-76 in a next year?
Next year,
But
what?
is that, I don't know, is that worth the tackle in a loaded draft?
If you're the Steelers, I think you take a tackle. You're taking an offensive lineman regardless. But you want Aaron Rodgers to come back. I don't think he wants to play with Broderick Jones at all, especially since he kind of tackled him last year and it really pissed him off. I think that protecting him, you're kind of giving something up.
You have your host of Blake Miller, Caden Proctor, Max, Caleb Lomu, if you're the Steelers there.
Yep.
To jump up 5 picks. I don't know. That's a lot.
Yep. The only other team that I could see no. Yeah, I think that's about where the conversation is. It's one of those
It's
two.
interesting because you know what team I like to move up here, and we're not going to go backwards on this, but if the Browns don't take Spencer there, and they take like Mekhi Lemon, this is a super easy trade up spot for them to get here and get their tackle. But
I think Washington's going to have to pick here because if it wasn't a divisional rival with Philly, I think they would make the trade and Philly wouldn't have to overpay for it. I think they may have to just make the pick, which again, wide receiver, safety spot. There's not a center in the first round that you're going to want to take. A weapon in general for Jaden Daniels would be nice. So like I said, wide receiver and safety. I think that's kind of what we're looking at. What do you think?
I think it's probably Dylan Thieneman.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just slot him in. And Lions at 17. What's up?
Pretty disappointing for the Commanders here, I think, to make the move and then just be kind of stuck. I do think they'll be aggressive to move down there again. I just don't know if the phone calls are going to come or if, maybe the one and a later third is enough for the Steelers to move up. I don't think that the math on what we know picks are worth equates to that exactly. But with the Commanders not wanting to make a pick, or maybe they just take who they think, maybe they do go Omar Cooper there. Like that's their guy. And, it's definitely interesting. This pick is obviously very easy. I think we can just click them, slot them in. Monroe Freeling's obvious for them here. Doesn't make much sense to go anywhere else. Defensive lineman is not, just a weird draft for defensive lineman this year.
2 spots that can go here. I think it's mainly going to be safety though, or corner could be it, but I think the safety priority is definitely going to be there. So do we want to slot in Emmanuel McNeil-Warren?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clear and obvious that if Dylan is still available here, that's where they go.
Yep.
I think Jermod McCoy is interesting, but Emmanuel McNeil-Warren has been. It's so funny when we started this, we were talking about safety play, and I'm like, yeah, I haven't even looked at that dude because he plays in frickin' Toledo, and I hate drafting guys from smaller schools because NFL players, when they're NFL ready players, they play at smaller schools. They just look like rock stars anyway, and it's just hard for me to judge them. And now here we are. I didn't even want to look at this guy. We're talking about him being a top 20 pick, so quite a rise.
Yep. All right, Carolina. I feel like we've gone safety here so many times, but so both safeties are off the board. I think we could take a look at the tackle spot. Ego got hurt in the wild card, and Taylor Moton is entering the final year of his deal. So you get a guy who can play maybe left for the year and then move over to right when Nicky comes back next year. I think that could be a priority. I mean, you need to protect, obviously, Bryce. Again, both safeties are gone, so I don't think that's going to be a priority. And then the only other thing that I could see is interior defensive lineman for him, but it's too early. I think a tackle spot is potential here. What do you think?
I think that I didn't think any of that.
Or wide receiver or a tight end? Kenyon Sadiq?
I was thinking it was Kenyon Sadiq or Omar Cooper Jr. right here. So I feel like I've been very persistent on how I think this is going to go. So if you want to go tackle here, I won't say no.
If we don't go Kenyon here, where does Kenyon go?
27 for sure.
It's true.
And Kittle's coming off of an Achilles injury. So
22.
Yeah.
It's 24 potentially.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Yeah. And 27. I think that's where they would go. But let's slot him in. Let's slot him in right here because I don't think he's going to slide all the way to 27.
No, me neither.
Yeah. So let's slot Kenyon here at this spot. But I think tackle is very realistic for Carolina because of the injuries that they've had, and getting a guy that they could switch from left to right is going to be a priority. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe even they tried to move up for Fennell. Again, that's a guy that they would love to have who could play every spot, and they need someone who could play one side and then the other the next year, and he can do it. So, all right, Cowboys up again at 20.
Let me ask you this. Does it make you, as a fan, a little bummed to think about the fact that you gave up draft capital to take Sonny Styles when CJ Allen is available at 20?
No, because I think CJ Allen isn't as good as Sonny Styles in the pass game. And I think that Sonny Styles is just as good as CJ Allen for run stopping. CJ's just so stiff in playing in any sort of zone and flipping his hips. You could just tell he looks very like old school, prototypical like middle linebacker. He would have been fine here at 20. I wouldn't have complained about it if we went with like Jermod McCoy at 12 and went CJ at 20. I wouldn't have complained about that. But I also like Styles at 6. So corner, safety help. But again, safeties are gone. I kind of just want to slot in Jermod McCoy at 20. All right, what are you thinking?
I know. How many Dallas Cowboy mocks have you looked at?
A couple. Why?
I've looked at a ton.
Okay, where are we going?
I know we could take Jermod McCoy, but I just feel like there is a high chance that if you do go corner here, the corner you take is out of a little place called San Diego State, not necessarily Clemson. So I don't know if you've seen all the Chris Johnson to Cowboys at 20 here, but there's been a ton. There's also been a ton of Zion Young at 20 here, but I think just so we don't do anything crazy, we should just slot in with Jermod McCoy or Avion Terrell, depending on who you like better. But I think this is gearing up to be a super interesting pick here.
I'll tell you right now that if we go if we go Chris Johnson at that spot, I am not complaining. I have Chris Johnson slotted as like my corner, like 2 or 3. I really like Chris Johnson a lot. So I wouldn't complain. But yeah, just to avoid us doing anything wild, I think Jamad at 20 is definitely where we should go. Okay. Pittsburgh, 21. Tackle feels like or interior offensive lineman, just offensive line in general, feels like pretty good slot in. Guard feels like what they need more than anything else, to be honest. But I know there's huge issues with Broderick Jones. So I think Proctor's going to go a little bit early than where he's slotted down here. I would almost rather go Proctor than Blake. And also, just to cover my bases, I do think Lomo's going to go a lot higher than this spot right here. I think he'll be late first. So, but I think Proctor's going to go earlier.
No thought of wide receiver here.
You could, but I feel like you just kind of put.
What gets Aaron more excited? A new weapon or someone to protect him?
Yeah, I mean, they just traded for Michael Pittman, though. DK and Michael Pittman are there. So, stuff, Freiermuth is still there.
My guy.
Exactly. So we could go Omar Cooper there. I'm leaning Omar Cooper, or we're going Proctor. I think Proctor's a guard anyway, so if you want to shift him to guard eventually, I think that's where he's going to end up.
You know what? I feel like we have just been over and over and over with this. It's been, I think it's offensive tackle.
Okay. So we want to go Proctor?
It's not Pregnon, is it?
Emmanuel Pregnon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too early?
I think it's a little too early. I mean, I think Pregnon can go. I think he could get in the first for sure, but I think 21 is a little. Yeah. Because Proctor's being talked about 17. So Freeling was there. You had to take Freeling. Okay.
For sure.
All right. Chargers on the clock. What's your thoughts here?
My thoughts are that I would love Emmanuel McNeil-Warren to be here, and he just never is.
Yeah.
I think that the Chargers would have loved for Akeem Mesidor to be here, but he's not. And I think this is maybe where we see our first defensive lineman off the board. I guess it comes down to whether you're higher on Caden McDonald or Peter Woods, but I think it's one of those guys.
I'm seeing Caden McDonald more in the first than Peter Woods. I'm even seeing Caleb Banks more in the first round than Peter Woods. So I just think the drop in production for Peter kind of dropped him on boards a lot for a lot of NFL teams. So I would rather go Caden McDonald at this spot than any of the other interior defensive linemen.
I'm with you.
All right, Philly. We kind of already had a small conversation about tackle. There are still some tackles out there that we can definitely make a strong consideration, but A.J. Brown's going to be traded post June 1st. So he's officially going to be off the team. So wide receiver is another spot we could definitely be looking. Edge is another place we could be looking. So I think if we're queuing it up, edge, wide receiver, and potentially tackle, I think any of these guys. They also have a pick at 54. Malachi Lawrence, Gabe Yaquez could be there. So edge rusher we could probably take off the board. But what's the priority?
Sounds like A.J. Brown's going to be a New England Patriot. So wide receiver, I would say.
The highest wide receiver here is Omar Cooper Jr., but my thing is Omar likes to operate a lot in the middle of the field.
Sounds like that's where Devontae Smith likes to be.
And that's why Devonta Smith gets frustrated with Jalen Hurts is because he just doesn't throw over the middle field. He likes outside boundary stuff. So Boston could be maybe a better fit.
I mean, 6'4" Denzel Boston makes a lot of sense, I think, here. Just the size, the type of player you're losing in
His
AJ
deep
Brown, the
release
big
is
red
so
zone,
good.
the
It's
big red zone
ridiculous.
target.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's slot him in.
Maybe a little higher than we've talked about in the past for him, and him off the board before Omar Cooper Jr. is interesting. But
All right.
all right, Cleveland, you've done some work.
All right. Spencer Fano still is our first pick. 24 and 39 is where we're going. I mean, already talked about wide receiver a couple of times. Getting a weapon
Back to back.
is probably a priority. And with Omar Cooper not going there at 23, I think they're a little ecstatic to get him at 24. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer.
Slot him in.
I really like the way the draft has fallen for them, getting a starting tackle, getting a wide receiver. Their trade back pays dividends. The Washington Commanders trade back didn't. So I like how this is shaking out for them.
Definitely. Edge and defensive tackle for me for the Bears. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, I really think it's TJ Parker. I think it's, if we don't go defensive tackle where we did previously, that this might be a slot for them. They would also love Emmanuel McNeil-Warren to fall to them, but with Caden McDonald gone, I think it's edge or, I don't know how you feel about Caleb Banks, but
Banks could go potentially this high. It feels a little early, but I think this is a Parker or Falk pick. I think it's one of those two guys. I think Falk is so polarizing though that I think Parker could go here at 25. I think I'm with you.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely not wide receiver.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yep. I mean, you can
I
have a
think it's-
conversation. You can have a conversation about safety, but it's too early for the next safety. And at the safety slot down, if we go look at 57 and 60, I think AJ Halsey will be available around that time period. So you could try to get him around then. But I think the safety conversation could definitely be had because you do sign Kobe Bryant, but you let Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard walk in free agency. So getting a safety would probably be cool in the second round when we get to that. So I'm cool with going Parker here if that's where we want to slot in.
I think it's TJ Parker.
Let's go with it then. All right, Buffalo.
Is there any doubt that they're not running to the podium to draft CJ Allen here?
Yeah, I think they absolutely they have to. At this point, I think they're ecstatic that he fell because, like I said, if the other conversation is the Cowboys at 20, so the fact that the Cowboys trade up and select Sonny Styles instead, and he doesn't go anywhere else, I think they're ecstatic. All right, make the pick.
Well, I think I know who I'm picking here. I think it's going to be a surprise for you.
Okay.
But
Okay.
before I do, who would you slot in here?
Wide receiver. Wide receiver is probably the spot I'd go. I mean, I would think it's probably Casey. But what's the surprise?
Can I interest you in an edge rusher here?
Yeah. Can you interest me? If we're going edge, are we going Cassius Howell?
No.
Okay.
No.
Where are we going?
We're gonna think about a returning Nick Bosa coming off of a knee injury. We got our good friend, mutual friend Osa Adigazoa. Is that correct? Adigazoa. And then we got Michael Williams, who we drafted in the first. But for this intents and purpose, he's going to kick into defensive tackle here on third down. And I am going to select with the 49ers pick a Malachi Lawrence here at number 27.
Early. Okay.
This is what we do, man. This is what we do. You remember the weird look we gave each other sitting on the couch next to each other when we heard the name Ricky Pearsall a couple years back. So this is very, very early, but there's a lot of scuttlebutt about him right now. And just so I can seem smarter than everyone else, I'm going to go ahead and slot him in here.
All right.
Now,
Houston
in
at
real life, he'll
28.
probably go in the 4th and I'll look like an idiot. But
Houston at 28. I think this is guard or interior defensive lineman. So this is Caleb Banks, or we're reaching on Pregnon. I think that's where I would like to go. At the 38 spot, you may have, just scrolling down. I mean, Chase will be there at 50. Nah, you won't be there 59, but maybe be there at 38. So Pregnon, Banks, I think that's the two places I would strongly consider and going and leaning towards at this point.
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is there anything that screams out to you, this makes a ton of sense for them here? Or do you mind picking up the phone?
Okay.
Arizona's on the line.
Is this where we're going and doing it?
They want to jump ahead of the Jets.
It's right there. Arizona. So 34, 28. What else are we throwing in?
104 maybe?
Okay.
143. It's 6 picks. You know, maybe another late round pick somewhere has to throw it in there. But since we're not going,
Okay.
Hey, can you do me a favor for you? Never mind. Forget
Really?
it. I just wanted to see if you clicked all those picks. Arizona gave up their whole draft to move up to this spot. Would
Would they be
PFF's
interested?
little thing? Yeah, would it say it's interested, or is it just always not interested here?
Let's see if it's with someone that's not interested. Let me see if. No, it doesn't make a difference. All right. QB, Ty Simpson.
No, they're going corner here.
They're
No,
going
I'm just
corner
kidding.
here?
I'm just
I was
kidding.
like, dude,
Ty
I
Simpson.
was like, holy. We haven't talked about Ty Simpson on the podcast, like at all.
Well, so here's the thing that a lot of people, I don't think a lot of people think about, and I'll give you my reasoning here because, they could just hold tight and get him. I think with a player like this, it's extremely important to get the 5th-year option. I think
Yeah.
it is super important to trade back into the first, take him in the first round so you can get the 5th-year option. And if either the Jets or the Cardinals think that this is their quarterback, if either of them have decided this is who we want to take, I think either one of them trade back into the first round. And I think the Patriots or the Texans are where they make their move to try to get this guy on a first round contract. That way they get the 5 years and they have plenty of time to figure out the quarterback position there. So
Kansas
I don't
City.
really like him too much. So I love the idea of the Cardinals taking him because I don't really think he's going to be a guy in the NFL. So for my narrative, it makes better sense that, plus I think if the Jets are going to take a quarterback, they just got to make sure he's a sure thing because that media outlet out there, it's just a circus and it eats young quarterbacks up. So,
Yep.
Kansas
I don't hate
City.
him. I don't hate Ty Simpson. He's like 49 on my big board. He's fine, but that's just pure tape. Is he's ranked 49? But yeah, Kansas City. We went with Caleb Downs at the 9 spot. Edge tackle. We have some tackles still sitting there. Blake Miller still sitting there.
Brother, they could do absolutely anything here. I think they have a fool's riches here at 29. I think they'd be good with Avion Terrell. I think they'd be good with Chris Bell, wide receiver out of Louisville. I think
Mitchell.
they'd be super happy with Mitchell. There's just the Blake Miller, there's anything
Lomu's
they
still
can do
there.
right here.
Yep. Well,
So-
Lomu played left. Yeah. Edge is also kind of critical for them. Now, if they don't go that way in the draft pretty high, then I could see them going out and getting some free agents, potentially. So what is a spot? I mean, I would like to go tackle here. I would like to spend a premium draft pick on a tackle at this spot.
I think that they would I think that they probably have to have their eyes looked on like a Cassius Howell. And then you
Yeah.
have a Keldrick Falk sitting here. But tackle, I think, 1 first round pick goes to the defense, 1 first round pick goes to the offense. I think that makes a lot of sense for a team that still has a generational quarterback that they're trying to win. I have seen a ton of Max. You want to try that last name?
And sure.
I've seen a ton of him here. I don't know if that's because on those mock drafts, Blake Miller's already off the board.
Yeah.
I've seen a ton where Caleb Lomu is going to the 49ers. So a lot of people think that he's a first round talent.
Mhm.
I am not super convinced on this either way. So I would say pick the tackle you think is best, and let's go with that.
Just go with Blake. Call good there. Miami. Mansour Delane first time up.
Miami cornerback.
So we have obviously a handful of options.
Did we get him a wide receiver here?
We can go guard here at this spot. So I think it's wide receiver or guard at this point. So KC's still there and Pregnon is there. I think those are the two that we would consider.
I think you got to do that and get that guy a wide receiver, man. You gave him that money to come in and be a quarterback.
I think that's a quarterback's best friend right there. The yak ability, short range situations, what he could do on short releases. I think that's a quarterback's best friend in this league. So yeah, let's go KC there. New England,
baby.
So as we know, AJ Brown is, they're going to fill that wide receiver spot. So don't even really need to look in that direction at this point. I think a tackle is probably on the forefront of their mind because of the Super Bowl. I think that's going to be a little bit of a priority. They could consider edge here as well, but I think the tackle spot could be here. We've slotted Max in here a couple of times. Lomu plays left if you want to kind of move your left tackle to right, since he was a shithead in the Super Bowl. It's kind of what you want to do. I think you move them, you put Lomu there, or you could take Max there. If you are going edge, Folk or Howell, I think probably Howell will go a little bit before Folk would.
Well, who's the better right tackle? I think Caleb.
Max's.
I think Caleb makes more sense here. You think Max is?
I think Max is a better right tackle because Caleb plays left. Moving a guy left to right sounds really easy, but I think when a guy naturally plays a position, it's easier.
Well, because they got Will Campbell at left tackle. That's not. They're not looking to replace that. I think
if you're asking which one's the better player, I think Lomu is the better player for sure. I have 20 spots separating Lomu and Max. I don't hate Max. I have a big gap between the two guys.
I can't remember who their other tackle is, but I'm pretty sure he's like 57 years old. The Patriots. So I feel like tackle
Morgan
makes sense
Moses.
Here. Yeah. Morgan Moses.
Yeah.
Morgan.
So we want
to age.
We want to go Lomu.
Yeah, he's 35 years old, Morgan Moses. So I do want to go Lomu. Yeah.
Let's get him in the first. Seattle.
I think they take Keldrick Falk here, bro.
Yeah, he lost a couple of pieces in free agency, but I think that continuing to go with the offensive or the defensive line is going to be important. So we want to slot in Falk here.
I think this could be Chase. Can you go to the guards? I can't remember his last name.
Oh, Bistonius or whatever.
Texas A&M.
Yeah. Bisantis.
I think this could be him here. I think it could be Pregnon here. Honestly, I've talked about it before. I think it could be Jadarian Price here. But with Keldrick Falk sitting there, I mean, with Avion Terrell sitting there, I just think you have to look at that embarrassment of riches there and take one of those guys. And
Colton Hood.
I've seen Colton Hood
and Chris Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Colton Hood at 12 to the Cowboys in mock drafts. You know,
he did a lot in draft stock, man. I mean, we can slot him in, and I wouldn't be upset. They have pick 64, which I already have an opinion about, but they have pick 64, and there's some guys there, but it's not like they're not completely barren of edge rushers. They're just barren of long-term succession plans after Nwosu and DeMarcus Lawrence. After they're done, they're on, age concern, injury concern potentially. They'll be productive, but if you're planning for future, they're gone. But the corner could be more important for this year because you lost Reek. So we could go with Colton Hood. I kind of like Colton Hood there. Those type of like rangy athletic corners, is that not just what Seattle likes? Is that not the type of player that Seattle likes every single time?
That is their type of corner for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's go with them then. All right, second round, first time, huh?
Yeah, I think you need to give us a little recap real quick.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but
On everything or just the pick?
just the pick. I know
right.
it's a lot of I know it's a lot of names, but I think we should just run through it a little bit.
So New York went with David Bailey and Carnell Tate. Is that all you want to know? You want everything? You can go with everything. You want me to say everything in the first round or just what Jets picked?
No. Just run through the 32 picks. Just spout them out real quick. You got this.
All right. Fernando Mendoza 1, David Bailey 2, Francis Mauigoa 3, Jeremiah Love 4. I think Drew just likes to hear me say all the names. Arvell Reese 5, Sonny Styles 6, Carnell Tate to the Jets number 7, Ruben Bain 8, Caleb Downs 9, Jordan Tyson at 10, Mansour Delane at 11, Spencer Fano at 12, Makai Lemon at 13, Vega Ioane at 14, Akeem Mesidor at 15, Dylan Thieneman at 16, Monroe Freeling at 17, Emmanuel McNeil Warren at 18, Kenyon Sadiq at 19, Jermod McCoy at 20, Caden Proctor at 21, 22, Caden McDonald, Denzel Boston at 23, Omar Cooper Jr. at 24, TJ Parker at 25, CJ Allen at 26, Malachi Lawrence at 27. 28, Ty Simpson makes it into the first round, Blake Miller at 29, KC at 30, Caleb Lomu at 31, and Colton Hood at 32. And Jets now back on the clock, pick 33. David Bailey and Carnell Tate, their first 2 picks addressing some much needed issues. They still have pick 33 in this draft. And there's not a quarterback for them to pick, unfortunately. Do they continue to shore up the defensive line? I mean, there's some picks here still for defensive line. They can take a consideration of maybe linebacker at this spot. They don't have another pick in the second. Jacob Rodriguez would probably be the highest one. I know there's, what's his name? Jake Golday, I believe is his name. He's a little bit lower, so that's a huge, Jake Golday. It's a huge reach, but Rodriguez could be a consideration.
I think they got to go corner, bro.
Okay.
Like, who do you like here? Not corner, just in general.
Corners probably, I mean, if we're going with, I think it's Falk. If we're going edge. But I think losing Sauce and bringing in someone else. Chris Johnson.
He didn't have an interception last year. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
How do you go a whole season without an interception? Like, you'd think at some point a ball gets tipped at the line, at the very least.
Nothing, though. So if we go corner, I go ahead.
You want to know something funny?
Okay.
So my mock draft simulator that I have up on my screen, I had accidentally clicked that I was only doing 1 round. That's why I made you do all the names back that way. I could look them as I go. So, God, Keldrick Falk still sitting there, bro.
Yeah. We could say it's too far of a fall, and we could just go with it. They can address corner later if they want, but
it's up to you, man. I don't know what else to do here.
Let's go Falk, because they only added Joseph Asai in free agency. Adding just 1 rookie pass rusher is probably not going to make all the difference in the world. So maybe adding another one and seeing if one of those 2 guys hits is probably where I would like to lean, especially, trading away Jermaine Johnson and whatnot. Will McDonald's solid, but he isn't phenomenal. So adding some more depth or hopefully a breakout player in Falk, let's go with that.
I think they would have really liked to go quarterback there.
So would have. I 100% agree. I don't know what happened with that. Houston back up.
Is it raining out there?
No. Nice and sunny.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Very nice. I just, I can hear it.
Oh, on your side. Yeah. Been
Peter
traded back.
Woods, Caleb Banks. Is this soon enough for a? Is this soon enough for a defensive tackle here?
Let's snag up or do we want to go guard? Look at all the teams that could take guard. I mean, Tennessee could.
I love this spot for Emmanuel.
Yeah, let's go with guard. Let's snag one up before they get taken. We can go interior defensive lineman later on. I'm okay with that. Let's go Pregnon.
And team dropping back out of the first round, just take a guard. That's going to sit heavy on the minds of their fans.
All right, Tennessee.
I think about these things.
Tennessee, we went with Jeremiah Love first time around, which about every other person on the planet also went. Edge rusher is, I feel like, super critical at this point. I feel like we need to kind of pull the trigger on one because
Cassius?
Let's go Cassius. Pure edge rusher.
Cassius.
Not going to get a whole
or
lot.
Zion.
I think I want to go Cassius there. I think Cassius is the better player. I think Zion's getting a lot of hype, and he'll go earlier than – where is he going right now? 40-ish. So, yeah, I think
he's
he could probably
go
go
20,
here.
bro.
Huh? He's going at 20.
He's going at 20.
I don't understand that one, but I'll leave that and digress. All right.
Let's get the Raiders a wide receiver, bro. Let's get him Chris Bell.
Chris Bell, 100%. Smooth route runner. Sure hands. Had 4 drops in all of college. He's a pretty solid guy. So I like the fit, especially when you need someone to throw to. So, all right, New York.
New York.
Arvell Reese, Jordan Tyson is the first couple spots that they went there. Guard, linebacker.
They also need a defensive tackle. I don't know. You heard the news.
Yeah, they do. Indeed. Do we want to go with Woods or Banks here?
Oh man, I'm a Christian Miller guy.
Okay.
I'm a Christian Miller guy.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about that.
I think he's below the other guys, but I think he has really good block shedding ability.
Let's stick chalk here. Peter Woods or Caleb. I think Caleb Banks is better than Peter Woods. I think it's weird that Peter Woods is ranked this high, but that's just me.
I like Peter Woods a lot. But I also like all three of the top 3 defensive tackles a lot. So
make your pick.
All right, let's go with Banks. All right, Houston back on the clock. I think they go interior defensive lineman, Christian Miller or Peter Woods here at this spot.
Back to back on the interior defensive lineman, Peter Woods. You are a Houston Texan.
And Cleveland, Fano, Cooper Jr.
Tackle, wide receiver. Man, they could double up, go interior offensive lineman here. I think they could look at the riches of Terrell sitting right there. I think they could look at Brandon. It's just harder when you don't control. Thank you, South Carolina. Yep. I think they could look at Chris Johnson. Yep. I think there's a lot of places they could go here. I've seen Chris Johnson here a lot.
I'm totally cool with that, getting him a little bit higher than where they have him right now.
Well, as long as you approve.
All right, let's go there. Kansas City went with Caleb Downs, Blake Miller. I think that's probably one of their two. That's 2 of their biggest needs at that point. Getting another weapon wouldn't be the worst thing on the planet. Corner, though, in the second.
Bro, Avion Terrell sitting there at 40 when you just traded away Trent McDuffie. I think that would be a hell of a thing to happen for them.
Yep, I agree.
And maybe that's not where they go with this pick, but if he's sitting there, I think they have to.
Cincinnati.
What do the Bengals do?
Well, they just traded for a defensive tackle. So it's too early. I feel like it's too early for the next safety to go off the board. They could use safety play. I guess they don't have to. They signed Brian Cook, so I'll take that back. And Jordan Battle's still there. So I think I'm cool with going away from safety. I don't think it's much needed. Corner, linebacker, just another defensive guy. I don't think that's the worst thing. One of those 2. What do you think? You could also just try to see if you want to grab more help for on the other side of, or who's even rushing the passer for the Bengals right now?
Sexy Dexy. That's it with his half a sack he got last year.
Do we want to slot Zion Young here?
I think this is an excellent slot for Zion Young, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
let's do that. Boom. Yeah, easy. New Orleans.
All right, Nolans, you got yourself an edge.
Yeah.
Still need some linebacker help.
Wide
Still
receiver
need some
help.
wide receiver help.
Definitely. Defensive line help.
You have your linebacker rankings in front of you.
I do.
How do you feel about Anthony Hill Jr.?
I like Anthony Hill Jr. A little undersized in terms of how he plays. I think Rodriguez is a better player than Hill is, but I like Hill better in coverage than Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez is just a really smart player. You know, they talk about like the green dot guys. I think he's a green dot guy. I think Anthony Hill Jr. is a pretty solid like off-ball linebacker that I wouldn't even mind on my team. But I wouldn't mind a linebacker at this spot.
A good spot for wide receiver, too. Obviously, Chris Brazell still sitting there. The kid from Alabama still sitting there.
Yeah. I like him a little bit more. I don't like I don't like big, speedy wide receivers from Tennessee. It's fucking stupid. They're fucking dumb. Jalen Hyatt, fucking awful. Giants fans, cue in. They suck. Like, get off my soapbox. But I think you could go either one of those guys, or you can queue up a linebacker.
You see that picture that Mac Jones shared on social media the other day of him, Jalen Hurts, and Tua standing together at Bama?
No, I didn't.
I know you hate certain players from certain schools, so
I do. Yep.
I don't know how I feel about Jacob Rodriguez, man.
Why is that?
Probably because I haven't watched enough on him, so I don't want to make an opinion.
I like him a lot. I think he's an intelligent player, and players that can put themselves in a position put themselves in positions for success in a play, I think can find success in the NFL. If you want to go more athletic, I think Hill is the pick instead of Rodriguez. Where is Hill going? Don't they? Yeah, they have him. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's insane to me. 81. No, that's insane. But I know
Your call, man. What do you want to do?
Oh, I don't like that. Let's see. Took care of our edge issue. Could go with a wide receiver. We could go
Christian Miller.
We could also go corner here too. Yeah, Christian. I would rather go Christian Miller or go with a corner like D'Angelo Pons at this spot. Go Miller. Come on. Let's just go Miller. Let's call it good. Let's just move on. Let's go Miller there. Mansour Delane and KC for Miami again. Max, he's still sitting here at the tackle spot. Let's beef up some protection.
Yeah, I love that. You got a shutdown corner, you got a wide receiver, you got a tackle. Look, great way to spend a top 3 picks in the top 45.
Absolutely. Washington, Dylan Thieneman, first time around. I know we're a little bit bummed out, or they might be a little bit bummed out with how kind of the draft has fallen for them up to that point. Wide receiver, I think, is the closest play here. I think just a player that they could make some sort of play on. So, Brazel, Bernard, one of those guys. Is that where we kind of want to slot in? I think finding a weapon at that point. Or, if you want to get a little crazy, we could slot in Jadarian Price here.
I like that.
You want to do that?
I do like that. You know, I had him going in the first round. So having him go a few picks after that, I actually love that. That's a great pick.
Let's go. All right.
Baltimore,
we went with Vega Ioane first time around from some protection. Wide receiver here at this spot, some linebacker help at this spot would probably be good for Baltimore. Other ways also I have written down for Baltimore.
Defensive tackle.
Yeah, definitely defensive tackle. Yeah, we could go Lee Hunter here. I don't think I hate that. We filled into your offensive line nicely. I don't think there's a wide receiver I'd like to take. I'm okay with Lee Hunter at this spot here. I don't hate it.
6'4", 330 pounds, big boy, Baltimore Ravens football.
Yep. All right, let's go with it. Tampa Bay, Akeem Messidor, first time around. Looking
I
for
think honestly, if Caleb Banks or Peter Woods falls, it's a no-brainer for the Baltimore Ravens right there. I've seen a ton of them drafted to them right there. That's why I just think defensive tackle will be something they're looking at. Who do we go? Oh, we went Akeem the first time around, huh?
Yep. So I see a couple ways we can go with this. One, I think we can go with Chase. Here, let me just pull up. I think this is an Eli Stowers spot. I think that this is a Chase spot. And this is a Rodriguez spot. I think we're looking at one of those three guys right there. Out of all these guys, I like Chase the best out of all of them. But they did, and they don't have to draft tight end in a second because they just signed Kadon to an extension. Just finding additional help for Baker would be nice. So, 2 tight end sets are exactly uncommon in the league. So, I wouldn't mind if we
Levante David just retired.
It's true, yeah. We want to go with Rodriguez, or we want to go with, I mean, they have Hill all the way down here, but I do think he goes earlier. I think this is a Rodriguez spot. Bolts, first time up.
Oh my gosh. Is it really?
Yeah, first time up.
What happened to their pick?
Traded to the Jets for Sauce.
Sauce. Gosh.
All right. I have edge as a need for them. Linebacker help is a need for them. Tackle help is a need for them. They signed Arden Key, edge rusher, but he was not good last year for Tennessee, so I don't love that. R. Mason Thomas wouldn't be atrocious fill at this area. Gabe Yaquez, Derek Moore.
I feel like I'm going to keep bringing this name up every time it's a need, but I just feel like Anthony Hill makes a lot of sense here.
Okay, let's go with him then, because I do think he's going to go earlier. So let's slot him in somewhere. What was it again? 80 something, ridiculous. Yeah, all the way down at the bottom. Insane.
Almost the second page.
Yeah, that's crazy. Atlanta, first time up again. So we have a wide receiver need big time, honestly, because they have their big three in weapons, but past that, there's not a whole lot going on. Corner help, I think, with the guys that are sitting here would be pretty lucrative. South Carolina, Indiana, or go Bernard.
Actually it's funny, I had Chidarian Price. This is where I had him slotted on the one I did this morning.
Really?
Yeah, I think they got to go wide receiver, man.
Yeah. Want to go Bernard here at this spot? Or do you want to go?
We definitely
Brazel?
can.
Do you have a preference between one or the other?
I do have a love at the wide receiver position here in the second round, but I don't think it probably makes much sense with the two that are still sitting there to go.
Yeah.
I'm a big Ted Hurst guy.
Oh,
but,
yeah. Okay.
I think that would be a reach with the players that are on the board right now. So
He probably sneaks into the second, though. All right. Let's go Bernard. Minnesota. We went with safety Emmanuel McNeil Warren. First time up. Spot. We definitely go. I don't have a center that I like in the second, do you? I mean, I don't like really any of these guys to sneak into the second. I don't think it's a strong center class, so that'd be the other place I'd go, but not here. I think later on.
I mean, I like Connor Liu, but I'm hoping the 49ers could get him in like the third with a comp pick.
Yeah. So
this would be too rich for him there.
Want to go corner here?
Yeah, I think honestly, that they would have loved like a Chris Johnson here if he was still available. He is not. So I also think this is another Jadarian Price area. Obviously also not available. So I think corner makes sense.
All right. I would like to go Pons because they need more of a nickel defender, and I think Pons is a better fit.
For me. I think you took him a pick ahead of where a team would have loved to take him. So I like when that happens.
Yeah. Detroit, we went with Monroe Freeling first time around, which I'm sure they loved if that would actually happen and they would fall to him. But edge rusher, guard, I mean, their offensive line kind of needs overhaul a little bit if we're being honest. So, R. Mason Thomas, Gabe Yaquez. Gabe Yaquez kind of feels like a lion, to be honest. So does R. Mason Thomas, though, both those guys. Or Chase. I really like Chase. If we're going guard spot, I'd like to slot him there. So that's more of where I'm leaning. Again, guard or edge is where I'm at.
They were 26th last year in pass rush rate. So I think edge after going tackle in the first round.
R. Mason Thomas still sitting here, or we want to go Gabe Yaquez? Derek Moore.
I love Derek Moore, but I'm biased towards the Michigan guys. So
Yeah, you
I
can
might
go a
have
little bit
I might
earlier, I
have a
think, than
blind
this.
spot there. I say we go Yaquez.
All right. I like him a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Kenyon Sadiq, first time up for Carolina. I talked very heavily about tackle before, but we could. It's a possibility.
It's funny. I like when you bring up a name and it goes because it just makes me feel like I'm right on the money. Because for the Lions and the Panthers, I had D'Angelo Pons written down as potentials. So
Oh, yeah.
it's kind of funny to see him go with the Vikings because it's like, all right, well, at least I'm on the right track, you know? Can they go back-to-back offense here?
Go with wide receiver? I think so.
Get him some more help?
Where are we leaning, though?
I mean, big time guy out of Tennessee. I think it's a fairly easy pick for them. Like I said, I'm a big Ted Hurst guy, but I don't think that that's the team to make the move. So
I agree. I think it's a little bit later. Green Bay, first time up. Getting everyone in here. It's a party.
yeah, edge, corner, wide receiver, offensive line. Best player available probably here for the Panthers.
Packers. Yeah, corner tackle probably. I mean, I know they have guard listed as well. Why don't I have guard listed? Oh, maybe because their guard play just isn't the best. I mean, it could. I wouldn't mind Chase going here as well. I would like to get Chase somewhere in here. So, or corner, like we talked about. I mean, Brandon's falling here a little bit.
You don't feel like they come out wanting to replace Romeo Doubs here?
I mean,
I just don't like what's left.
I don't like what's left here. Not at 52. I think there's better value. I think they have a clear need at corner. I mean, they have after 2026, they have Sean Nixon and Carrington Valentine are free agents. Nate Hobbs was acquired last year, but he wasn't very good. Javon Bullard was basically the starting nickel, but outside of that, they don't have a great boundary corner outlook right now. So I think we can go. I can go here at this point. I think we're all right.
Steelers.
Yep, Caden Proctor first time around, and they draft Carson Beck. All right, I can pull up my Pittsburgh list. There it is.
I think they could go linebacker. I think they could go edge.
Yep.
I think they could
Linebacker,
go
edge,
safety.
They could still go guard too. I mean, it's boring, but a wide receiver 3 at this spot I wouldn't hate either. I wouldn't despise that spot. Yeah, Jake Golday still sitting there. Chase is there. Skylar Bell is there. Just say Trotter this is a little early in my opinion, but some people think that's
Jake Golday.
Yeah, we can go there. All right, perfect. Philly back up. Denzel Boston the first time around.
This screams AJ Halsey to me.
You think so?
LSU, bro. Big time.
That's true.
You don't
They
think
could.
you think it's too early for safety, or you just don't like the player?
No, I like the player. They have. I mean, I kind of feel like they have a need at edge.
Because I like the dude out of Miami also. If you don't like the player,
Yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely not about the player. I just may think that they. Would you rather go out and sign? Oh, I don't think I have a. Would you rather go out and sign a veteran edge presence or a veteran safety presence and go on a run?
yeah, I would rather draft the edge. I don't think safety is all that important.
Okay. This feels like a great Derek Moore spot.
I love Derek Moore here.
Let's go here. Yeah.
I also like Dennis Sutton, but I like Derek Moore a little bit more.
I agree with you. 100%. All right. First time around, we went with Katie McDonald, interior defensive lineman for the Chargers. I know you pay attention to the Chargers pretty closely. This feels like the guard spot, though. I think they'd be jumping up and down and excited for Chase to be there still. I think they'd be ecstatic.
I think honestly, yeah, because I think they'd be perfectly happy taking Kalen Rutledge here. So to have Chase sitting there, a guy that's maybe projected to go 20 picks higher, I think they would love that.
I agree. All right, Jacksonville. Again, first time up, right?
Yeah.
Defensive tackle, linebacker.
Yeah, I have Jacob Rodriguez and Anthony Hill written down here for the Jags, and unfortunately,
All gone
my
plus
good
one.
friends, they are gone. So
We can go tight end. They need a tight end too.
they might be out of luck getting a linebacker here.
Our spot.
They do need tight end. I think it's a little too early to go defensive lineman.
Interior defensive lineman.
Uh,
Yeah, I agree. Go with Stowers, man.
Eli Stowers.
Yeah, let's
I
get him
think
in
that's a
there.
good pick.
Chicago went with TJ Parker first time up. They have another pick in a couple. Where does Chicago want to go at this point? Said TJ Parker first time up.
How do you feel about a safety here?
I would love a safety here. I would love to go AJ here, actually. It's a great pick. Let's do that.
Considering the fact that they would have loved Dylan or Emmanuel, Warren to fall to them.
Dude, and the defensive backs coach is the same one that was the defensive backs coach for the Cowboys when they led the league in turnovers. And guess what? Chicago just led the league in turnovers. And guess what? This guy, it's like he's a highlight reel of interceptions. So he's gonna fit in perfectly fine at this point. So that's actually a great fit. Niners, all right. Where do you want to go, Drew? Where are we going?
Well,
Went with Malachi Lawrence first time around.
I was hoping that Chase would fall, but you snagged him up with the Chargers.
Yep.
I think that guard is definitely a high likelihood here. I think an AJ Halsey is a likelihood, but to go a little crazy, we're going a little crazy.
Okay.
Again,
Okay.
we're going a little crazy. Here's the thing is I'm not messing anything up because I'm not like taking a player. Like if I just take two dudes that probably aren't getting drafted in the first and second rounds, it's okay because I'm not messing anything up. But I think if you go up there you're going to have to go up to the filter positions and you're going to have to click on running back to get to Mr. Jonah Coleman out of Washington.
That is such a like Shanahan guy, a dude who just knows how to do his job, knows what he's good at, and he's going to be in the league for so long because he does the things you want to do. You want him to pick up the blitz and block for the quarterback, he's going to do it. You want him to take a 1-yard run and turn into a 3-yard run, he's going to do it. Like he's just that feels like a really good fit there. That's pretty awesome. Yep.
Now, 49ers fans might be mad at me because we have Jordan James waiting in the wings, but Kyle Shanahan wouldn't even let that dude have one snap in the regular season last year running the football. So he's not as sold on him as we think he is.
We took care of their top two needs, guard and tackle, first time around for the Houston Texans. Or we want to go now? All the running backs are pretty much off the board at this point. So what's the direction we kind of want to lean? Linebacker feels like a decent spot here. Is it too early for another linebacker? Josiah Trotter.
I love
Lewis is-
Josiah Trotter. I do. I think Connor Lew makes a lot of sense here for them. I don't want them to take Connor Lew because I want the 49ers to take Connor Lew in the third. But who did we go with them again?
Regnon and Woods.
Oh, okay. We went guard already.
Yep.
And Peter Woods.
Yep. Solidified.
Maybe it's Josiah Trotter.
All right. Slot him in. Chicago, back up again. We went with the edge, safety. Where are we leaning this time? We haven't really taken care of. You know who I do want to draft? Let's draft.
Nathan Halton.
I kind of want to draft R. Mason Thomas here because I think he
Okay.
could slide inside, and I think
Okay.
he's a little versatile. So I think this is for two plays and then inside for the third. I think this is the type of player that we're looking at for our Mason Thomas. So I think it's a good spot for him.
You stop the run on first and second, rush the passer on third.
Yes.
Love it.
All right. Rams back up again. Went with Malachi Lemon the first time around. Tackle, linebacker. Also have, those are the two I have for my list as well. Tackle and linebacker. It's probably a good spot to start taking another tackle.
I'd have to defer to you on this one. I didn't go this deep on the tackles.
I think that, man, I think it's probably Dunker. I think that's probably the pick here. And yeah, I just wanted to double check and confirm that I wasn't tripping. Right tackle. I just wanted to double check that was who I was thinking of. That's what they need. They're not really looking for a left tackle at this point. So securing a right tackle in the second, I think that's the move to make. Denver, first time up. It's the last first time up.
I think they're all over a offensive piece here, in my opinion. I think that they would have loved Jadarian Price. I feel like they would have loved an Eli Stowers.
Would have loved Eli Stowers, yeah.
Definitely would have loved a Josiah Trotter. Is it too early for Kyle Lewis here? Is it too early for Max Clare here? Is it too early for...
Those are the two players that you just said are the two I would lean on. And they're both a little bit of a reach, 76 and 81. Kyle's a little bit more athletic. He has flashes of being absolutely phenomenal. Max is going to be more of a traditional tight end. And I think with the pieces that they picked up in the offseason, obviously with trading for Jalen Waddle, I think that they'd be okay with a traditional tight end more than a guy that can go up and go get it. You know, they still have Troy Franklin is still over there as well. Marvin Mims is still over there as well. So they have decent guys who could play 3 and 4 for the wide receiver spot. So getting a solidified true tight end would not be the worst thing on the planet for Denver at this point. Want to go there?
Let's do it.
All right. New England is at pick 63. We went with Caleb Lomu first time around. I think they probably would have liked to see if any defensive linemen were available, but no chance at this point. Pull up my list. There we go. Is there anyone you're in love with at this spot? I would love to try to sneak in another DB, but I don't think it's necessary at this point. Keontae Scott would have been cool to sneak in, but there's no more spots for any more corners, I think, at the 63 and 64 spots because we already took Hood at 64. So is there a way that we could...
I think they would have loved Lee Hunter.
Yes.
Obviously gone 10 picks or so previously. I love Elijah Surratt, wide receiver. But
we could, but we're getting AJ Brown too.
AJ Brown.
Could go interior defensive lineman. It's a place that we can kind of start leaning towards a little bit. Edge we could still look at as well. So not sure which way you would rather go with a Josh Joseph or Grayson Halton. But I know,
I'd love Derek Moore here too.
yeah, Derek Moore here would probably have been the perfect pick, to be honest. Coin flip.
I say Joseph's.
Yeah, I agree. Because that's the other way we were leaning for end of the first as well. So, all right, final pick, Seattle. We went with corner first time around. I think that Joseph's would have been a good slot in here.
Can I tell you who I think the pick is?
Who's a pick?
Mike Washington Jr.
That's fun. I'm cool with that. Want to go with that one?
I wanted them to take Jadarian Price at 32. So,
and he's slotted around 71. It's not outrageous.
it's a clear need. They do not have a running back right now.
2-round mock draft. It's not going to give us a grade. See? Boom. No grade. They hate us.
We broke their system because it was too good.
That's what it was. Just to round out round 2, Keldrick Falk at 33, Emmanuel Pregnon 34, Cassius Howe at 35, Chris Bell at 36, Caleb Banks at 37, Peter Woods at 38, Chris Johnson at 39, Avion Terrell at 40, Zion Young at 41, Christian Miller at 42, Max Ahenachor at 43, Jadarian Price at 44, Lee Hunter at 45, Jacob Rodriguez at 46, Anthony Hill Jr. at 47. I think it's Jeremy. Isn't Jeremy Bernard? Is that how you say it?
It is Jeremy Bernard.
Yeah, I thought so. D'Angelo Pons at 49, Gabe Yakus at 50, Chris Brazzers at 51,
Gabe Jackass.
Brandon, and this is the other one I mess up on. I'll mess up a lot of names. Is it Sis or is it Sice?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think it's Sice at 52, Jake Galday at 53, Derek Moore 54, Chase Bisontis at 55, Eli Stowers at 56, AJ Halsey at 57, Jonah Coleman at 58, Josiah Trotter at 59, R. Mason Thomas at 60. I also don't get this one right ever. I watch most of my stuff on no audio. But Dunker tackle out of Iowa at 61, Max Clare at 62, Josh Josephs at 63, and Mike Washington at 64. Full 2-round mock draft. I will slowly scroll through it. So if you want to take a second look, you totally can. But I'm super excited to give a recap after the first couple rounds of the draft. I'll be back in town Saturday, Drew, so probably won't be able to do anything until then. So we'll probably be talking about it while the draft is still going on or just about ending. So we'll give grades out for the first couple of rounds and talk about a couple of our picks, good picks, bad picks, where we expect guys to go, all that stuff. So besides that, had fun. Anything else to say to people?
Yeah, last call, just to touch back in with us being a fan of these two teams. No trades involved. Give me your best bet on what the Cowboys are doing at 12 and 20, and I'll give you my best bet on what's going to happen with the 49ers.
Jermod McCoy at 12, CJ Allen at 20. I think that Delane's gone at that point, so that's why they don't go Jermod. Or, excuse me, they don't go Mansour. So I think that's about
I don't think you can be angry with that.
No, I think linebacker is going to be a priority.
Corner and a linebacker.
Yep, linebacker is going to be priority in the first round. So whether it's Styles or whether it's Allen or, if we trade back from 20 because Styles is gone at that point, we pick up a second and we go get one of the guys that we've talked about in the second round, Anthony Hill Jr. or Jacob Rodriguez, Jake Galday. Any of those guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we traded back out a second round pick and got them as well. So I think just first 2 rounds, linebacker is going to be a priority for the Cowboys as long as trying to get some sort of secondary help. I wouldn't be surprised either if it was an edge because obviously edge rusher is going to be a priority. What about you?
I have come around on the idea that it might be Caleb Lomu.
Okay.
Even though I've been adamant that we won't go tackle. But if we do go wide receiver, I think it'll be someone that just like Ricky Pearsall, we didn't see coming. So I would place my money on Chris Bell.
How would you feel about that?
I didn't like the Ricky Pearsall pick, you know?
Right.
That the fact of the matter is the 49ers aren't very good at drafting in the first round. Like, honestly, if they could trade their first round for like 3 fifth-round picks the next 3 years, and that's where we find the Kittles and the Warners and the Talanoga Hufungas and
It's like
you
the
know, those
Cowboys
type
with the
of
fourth round
players.
picks. You get like a bunch of random
Yeah.
like guys in the third and fourth round, and you're just like, how are these guys this good?
And I feel like with teams like that, it's because they just start drafting best player available in the later rounds. Like, they just go out
100%.
and look for talent and football players. So I did a wild ass thing in this mock with our first round pick, obviously picking a player that's on no one's radar to go in the first. So I just hope if it comes down to it, like, you know, we got a couple of good corners right now. If the corner is the best player on the board right there, then take him. And then you don't have to re-sign a corner coming off a rookie deal to a major contract because you already have a player. If the best player sitting right there is Caden Proctor, you know, if for some reason, you know, this would never happen in a million years, but like a Monroe Freeling falls,
Yeah.
you know, like if something, or Jermon McCoy falls, or whatever the case would be, like I would just encourage them to take their best, the best player available there. So we'll see. They will not see us before we know the answers. You said you're back on Saturday,
Out of town for the next couple of days.
which means Sunday is probably,
Probably best bet.
you know, I don't know, draft grades maybe, or biggest winners, biggest surprises, biggest losers. We'll figure it out behind the scenes, but should be an exciting Sunday. I think honestly the biggest disappointment of this whole draft is that the Raiders have the number 1 pick and they're not going to do anything stupid. That's disappointing to me because generally they can always be expected to take a Zion at pick
Chris
10
Brazzell,
or
first
something like that.
round.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what? We identified our guy. We went and got our guy.
Yeah.
And
Sweet.
we didn't want Michael Crabtree. We wanted Hayward Bay. So he's fast. That's what we went with. So that's all I
guys.
got, man.
We appreciate you sticking around with us. If you made it all the way to the end, comment that the 49ers suck. I feel like it's the perfect thing. But we do appreciate you. If first time checking us out, make sure to hit subscribe. Follow us for all the draft content. Off-season content still pumping out. As soon as the draft's done, we're going to pump out grades and talk about favorite moves, least favorite moves, and then we'll probably have a little bit of downtime. We'll come up with a couple ideas to keep the content rolling for you guys, and then we'll have predictions, and then we're right back to the season once again. So I'm excited. All right, guys. We appreciate you. Have a beautiful day.